Oh, well, hello, all my wonderful, beautiful broskies and wonderful, beautiful broskers of the Maverick Nation. I am the Dark Shadow Maverick, and I know what I said a while back about bringing back some of the older content, giving some more parts to it, some of my older stuff. Well, it depends on what you mean by my older stuff. Like, what older stuff do you mean? Like, which ones are you talking about whenever you're talking my older material? Because some of them I'm willing to, some of them, no way in hell. Like, some of them I'm willing to give a try, some of them, no way in hell I'm ever doing that again. Just letting you guys know that. Or at least for now, that's my opinion on all of that. Anyways, I got a little something for you guys and gals. You broskies and broskies. By the way, for those of you that don't know what broskies and broskies are referring to, what I'm referring to whenever I say that, broskies is basically my male viewers, and broskies is basically my female viewers. Notice I didn't say fans, I said viewers. Doesn't matter if you're subscribed or not, even just if you're a viewer, broski or brosky, just matters if, like, you're male or female, is, like, what will decide if you're a broski or a brosky. Just, wanting to make that clear. I'm also wanting to make another thing clear. I got a little idea to do. I call it Kiri Naruto and Suna Naruto. Like, I'll do 2 parts of Kiri Naruto and 2 parts of Suna Naruto. And then 2 parts of Kiri Naruto, and then 2 parts of Suna Naruto. Basically, what I'm basically saying whenever I say Kiri or Suna Naruto is, well, basically the what if that I'm planning on doing right now, you see the title, is basically like it would start right after, the whole thing with Mizuki and Iruka. Basically, whenever, basically the entire time, the whole village has been treating Naruto like shit. And, you're basically, Mizuki has just revealed Naruto, to Naruto, the whole thing. Reason why they do that. And, well, basically whenever Iruka says, that is what beasts are like. Basically, I'm gonna have it to where in this, Naruto is so, overly emotionally overwhelmed, to the point to where he isn't able to stay around any longer to hear Iruka finish his sentence. And that's gonna be for both ones. It's gonna be for Kiri and for Suna. That's basically gonna be the setup. That's basically gonna be a setup for both of them. It's basically Naruto's gonna be too overly emotionally overwhelmed to hear Iruka finish his sentence. And Naruto, basically, After Naruto would just start to run away, just ditch the scroll of sealing altogether. A certain someone eyeing Hiruzen from afar, eyeing Hiruzen watching this on his crystal ball. That certain someone being Danzo Shimura and his root Anbu. And Danzo, seeing this from Naruto, seeing this display, even though Orochimaru has told him before that this is a bad idea, Danzo's stupid, so he does it anyways. He decides to basically put an attempt on Naruto's life. An attempt out on Naruto's life. And so he just sends his Rudanbu, like the strongest of them, and sends him after Naruto whenever he is far enough, towards the outskirts of the village. However, the thing is, in the direction that Naruto went was actually sort of like a halfway point. A halfway point to where? Well, basically, whenever Naruto's running, he actually trips over a dead body. Actually, two dead bodies. One of them is a kid, and one of them is an adult. And the adult actually has, more or less, he has, like a whole strap thing over his body, and, basically on his back, there's two swords. And, well, Naruto basically taking the two swords, and basically he would feel this shocking power. And he would remember from Iruka's lectures that basically this is apparently called lightning, chakra nature. Or Raiten. And, well, basically, if Naruto's like, if just by holding this, I'm able to, feel, lightning chakra nature, then this sword, these swords, must be really special. And that's whenever, the Rudanbu that Danzo sent out to, take an attempt on Naruto's life, will come out, and actually several Kirinen, because this would have actually been the drop-off point where they would have been not too far off to actually find and kill the person who had these two swords and their companion, who was kind of in a sack that was on their back, also where their swords were. Was where their back is where their swords were, and where the little bag where their companion was as well. I believe the guy's name is Ryuga. The guy who has the one sword that is actually two swords, that's lightning chakra. I believe his name is Ryuga. But even if his name isn't Ryuga, I'm gonna say it is. Whatever. Basically, they were looking for Ryuga because, well, swords, kind of like Kiri is kind of known for the swordsman of the mist, because Kiri kind of is the mist village. So, yeah, basically, Ryuga would be considered a missing nin of their village. And, well, basically seeing Ryuga's dead body and the dead body of the person that he had with him, and this other kid who's just clueless, kind of just sitting on the ground and barely getting up, and just has the two swords in his hands, one sword for each hand. And basically, a couple of the Kiri, Ambu actually, like, see Naruto's headband and actually, get some, skeptical. And, aren't you a konaha ninja? Well, they really only see the headband because Iruka actually dropped it. And Naruto, without actually realizing it, actually picked it up. And Naruto would realize that he actually has Iruka's headband. And then he would drop Iruka's headband, but he wouldn't drop the sword. And then the Kiri ninja, the Kiri Ambu, would go to explain that the swords that he was holding are actually called Kiba, and that they can naturally channel through themselves lightning chakra. And that they're actually used by members of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. And that's, the guy who is basically on the ground. And whenever Naruto figures out that guy on the ground was actually one of the 7 ninja swordsmen, and that these were the swords that he used, it was like, holy shit. Like, he'd just be thinking in his mind, like, eternally just screaming in his mind, like, holy shit. And basically, it would be the Kiryambu versus Danzu's Rudambu. And the Kiryambu and the Rudambu would kind of get in their own little scuffle. That's when Naruto would just be like, he just had enough. And he would just be like, shh, shh. And, there would just be a strike down. And, it would just blast on all of the Rudambu. Just send them flying up into the air. And they would be on fire with several body parts missing. It would have just been like exploding electricity. Like a blast of exploding electricity. And basically, the Kiri Ambu would just basically look like they would basically just see like it kind of moves naturally with that sword. Like they would see he moves naturally with it, like almost like it was meant to like be his. Kind of how like these like the 7 ninja swordsmen, how they kind of go down like there's a first one for each weapon, and then there's a second one for each weapon. Basically, first Zabuza had Kukuri Bochu, and then Suigetsu had Kukuri Bochu. I think it's basically like it kind of like passed down through generation, I think. And well, they're like, well, the guy's dead, so they don't really have that much of a problem. Just like their Mizukaze needs to be okay with it first, And plus, he would need training in order to control that power. Plus, he kinda has, well, from the fact that he was holding a konaha headband, he probably is from Konaha. So yeah, there's like probably some problems. And basically, Naruto would deem all of that acceptable. He would deem all of it acceptable, and basically how everything would be, gone down is, well, whenever doing all the katas for, like, the kenjutsu of Kiba, the two lightning swords, Naruto's really good at it, actually. He's really good at those specific katas for the kenjutsu of Kiba. The two lightning chakra blades of the seven ninja swordsmen of the mist village. And whenever it comes to seeing if it's okay with the Mizukage, currently the Mizukage now is the fourth Mizukage, that being Yagura. And I'm going to say that, seeing as I heard several times that Perfect and Cherokees are supposed to allow their hosts to be able to dispel genjutsu, so Isobu should have been able to get Yagura out of the Sharingan genjutsu from Obito. I call bullshit on him not being able to release, on Ibosu not being allow him to release Yagura from Obito's genjutsu. I call bullshit. I call heavy amounts of bullshit. Like Kishimoto, were you on acid? I call so much bullshit. And so basically how I'm going to have it is, well, how it's going to be is, Yagura is not going to be under a genjutsu. He is still going to be his self before Obito genjutsu then. And, well, Mei, Ao, and Chojuro, basically, Mei being a shoo-in for the Godheim Mizukage, Ao being a shoo-in for her, well, advisor, and Chojuro, well, is Chojuro, kind of still trying to find a place for him to, slip into. Yagura's thinking that with this kid, he seems to have a lot more, he seems to feel a lot more comfortable around here than any time, the Leaf Village is mentioned. Anytime that place is mentioned, he seems to get really tense. Yeah, Naruto does not have very fond memories of Land of Fire. The Hokage is great and all, and the Taiuchis are great. And, Iruka's, basically he didn't hear the other part of what Iruka was going to say. So, Naruto, he doesn't exactly have the best opinion of Iruka. So, yeah. Basically, what Yagura can gather from Naruto as he's been the past however long he's been in, the Hidden Mist Village, the Blood Mist Village, and the title Blood Mist Village doesn't even scare Naruto. He's actually very happy, in the Hidden Mist. And, there's even, Jonin and Tokubetsu Jonin, also known as Special Jonin. That's basically what Tokubetsu Jonin means. Special Jonin. Haku being the Special Jonin, and Zabuza being the Jonin. And Kisame still defects, but more or less that's because we still need Nakatsuki. And if Kisame's not around, we can't really do that. So, yeah. Basically, Kisame still the defects, even though things aren't nearly as shitty as if Yagura was under the Genjutsu, which in this he's not going to be under the Genjutsu. Basically, you could even say that Yagura just plain went up like full, actual perfect Jinchuriki, actual Three Tails Isobu, and almost killed Obito. For trying to Genjutsu him. Yeah. I imagine Yagura would actually be pretty damn pissed. Because somebody tried to Genjutsu him into literally turning him into, Ninja Hitler. Whenever it came to bloodlines. So, yeah. Ninja Hitler. I imagine people in the comments section, if there's anybody in the comments section, they're going to be losing their shit. Look at me just jinxing myself. But I don't care about that. We care about the story. Let's get back to the story. And the story is basically, Naruto feels a lot more comfortable here. And, well, the only real Jinchuriki that they actually have here, until Naruto came around, till he came a knocking, was their Yondaime Mizukage, Yagura. And Naruto even realizes something. Basically, Yagura actually realizes something about Naruto, he seems a little bit not all that well informed for someone for his knowledge, who is the son of the fourth Hokage. And basically, Yagura doesn't know that Naruto doesn't know that he's the son of the fourth Hokage. And basically, whenever Naruto hears this, that he's the son of the fourth, and also Kushina Uzumaki, which, all that shit. Naruto definitely doesn't want to live in the Leaf Village now. He definitely devotes himself to the Land of Water. After, hearing that he was literally kept from knowing about who his actual family was and the fact that he actually had a family. Yeah. Now Naruto definitely has it set in, stone in his mind. He definitely does not want to go back there. And considering that the only other, Jinchuriki besides him that's in the village is their own Yondaime, himself, that being Yagura, Naruto decides that, well, from what he does remember about, history of the Shinobi world, there is one country that has actual 2 Biju, and that country is Lightning Country. And basically, Naruto's like, imagine it, imagine it, Yagura-sama. Yeah, he actually calls Yagura-sama because he actually has respect for him. Because, he's been so nice to him and actually been like a father figure. More of a father figure than Minato. But that's whenever Yagura has to explain everything because sure as hell freaking Hiruzen isn't going to, so yeah. So yeah, basically, Naruto would indeed call Yagura-sama, and possibly maybe in the future even call him Yagura-san, but, maybe not all that much because, well, he knows who his real father is, but, he has his reasons for what he does and what he says. So for now, it's just going to be Yagura-sama. But the fact that he's even, using honorifics at all, like these sort of like special, actual, respectful honorifics at all, is something to be, basically something very unexpected. And basically, after everything that has happened, Naruto basically has his mindset that he, if anything, more than ever now, has it in his head that he wants to stay a Kiri Shinobi because, basically, come on. Kirigakure, the Hidden Mist Village is a Shinobi village, and, well, Naruto, seeing as he's not treated like shit, unlike, in the freaking Land of Fire, in the freaking Leaf Village where he is, he actually did end up passing the academy in the Hidden Mist Village. He actually did end up passing. And with flying colors. Being able to learn actually 3 different nature, transformation things. Not more or less like nature elements. He has like his natural one, which was basically his ever since he was born, in the Land of Fire, which is wind. And then he has his one from how long he's been, in and around Kiri, which is water. And, well, seeing as ever since, the day and night he first laid eyes on these things, the special swords, Kiba, and the fact that literally channeling a freaking Raiten lightning chakra through them is like one of if not the most primary thing about the freaking swords, other than the fact that there's actually 2 of them instead of just 1. So yeah, he actually has 3 different styles. He has Futen, Sweden, and Raiten. He has Futen, Sweden, and Raiten. He has wind, water, and lightning. And actually, using this, Naruto actually hearing about the people in, the Land of Earth, in Stone Village, that they actually have some people, and actually have this thing called a Kikei Toda, which is called particle release, which basically allows them to, like, atomize people. And so Naruto decided that since he has 3 different elemental things, he is going to do his homework and make his own Keketoda. And seeing as it relies on not just wind, water, and lightning, but also on the sword that sword/swords that he uses. Not only the elements, but, the sword/swords, Kiba. Yeah, basically this Keketoda, Naruto's actually been thinking for a while about what to call it. He's thinking, well, it not only relies on water and wind, but it also relies on lightning. Well, basically, water and lightning produces storm release, and basically he doesn't really remember the other ones. He just knows that water and lightning produce a storm release. Though, however, he is also aware of wind and also the fact that he's also using Kiba, his, double swords, with this as well. It's like some sort of super Keketoda. And the fact that it isn't just like chakra, it's also like ninja weapons. So it's like a super Keketoda. And Naruto's just thinking of what to call it. And that's whenever it hits Naruto. There aren't these things. Funnels of wind that run around in certain shapes, called tornadoes, and funnels of water that funnel around the water, basically surrounding it, called hurricanes, and lightning itself is destructive already. And just adding anything to lightning already would just make it even more bad for whoever got hit by it. So, with all these different destructive forces, Naruto thinks, well, basically, tornadoes and hurricanes, they're technically classified as natural disasters. And that's whenever it comes to Naruto, flick. I can't actually flick my fingers, but I'm going to do, a little similar motion. Flick. It's like, that's it. That's what he'll call it. He will call it disaster release. That's what his Keketoda will be, disaster release. And what exactly will he be able to do? Well, he'll be able to do devastating jutsu without even needing hand signs. It's basically it's almost like the 8 gates, the first few levels is just different levels of hand signless jutsu. And then the next few levels is like fusions of the different elements without needing hand signs. And then it just gets more powerful and more powerful the higher up you go. The more energy you put into the disaster release. Like, the more Naruto would put into it. But disaster release itself is more or less like a type of jutsu that doesn't require hand signs. All Naruto needs to do is just think about what kind of disaster he wants to create. And basically, he thinks himself that lightning bolts themselves are disasters. Literally, like, if God were to want to smote down a human, he would just, like, strike them down with a lightning bolt. That's literally God smoting something down, is literally what the equivalent of lightning is in Naruto's eyes. Like somebody being smoted down. Like the equivalent of smoting someone or something. So, in that way, he thinks of lightning itself as a natural disaster. Because it's literally like you're being smoted by God. And he is literally able to control these different forms and abilities. He can create tornadoes, he can create earthquakes, he can smote people at various levels. He can do different types of natural disaster things. But only to a certain extent, like Naruto can actually manage himself. Because Naruto himself, he's only just a fresh genin, and he already has this Keke Toda, which he calls disaster release. And, well, considering he's more or less a fresh genin, he's wondering what his genin team is going to be. Like his teammates and his sensei. Basically, his teammates, a group that was basically a part of the same squad that kind of helped Naruto, by staving off Danzo's root agents. Some of them kind of come out of nowhere one day, and they're like, we heard word about something about Naruto might need some sort of teammate. And basically, there was word spread about this mission. Orochimaru wanting to spread his influence. He had one of his bases, and apparently one of his bases was actually really close to Kiri. And just so happens that this specific team ended up coming across it, and in coming across it, actually able to save a certain girl. And it turns out that this certain girl, well, they heard her last name, and it was Uzumaki. And they're wondering, Naruto, what's your last name? And Naruto basically tells them that apparently he has a sibling that he didn't know about because his last name is Uzumaki. And basically the people say that their basically full name, from what they know, is Karin Uzumaki. And that, their unique ability is basically they can bite people, and whenever they do that, they basically, kind of restore them in some sort of way. You know what Karen does? What Karen does. So basically, Karen would be there, and well, basically, yeah, that whole thing. With Chodro basically decided that, well, Ao is basically going to eventually be, Mei's. So like some sort of like assistant. Basically, Chodro decides that kind of be like the big kingfish of the whole royal guard. And then you just hear a voice and be like, "Oh man, so much for doing someone a solid." And Chodoro would be like, "I'm sorry, Suigetsu, but I really want to help the future Mizukage out. Be a team player." And you would just hear Suigetsu be like, "Team player? Nah." Like, Suigetsu would just be pissed. And then you would just hear someone be like, "Alright. I assume seeing as Haku's the Tokubetsu Jonin, that I'm supposed to be their sensei." And basically, Suigetsu looking at just looking at Kuch just looking at Chukiri Boku and just looking at it and be like that's the executioner blade, oh shit. I better not piss him off. And that's whenever Suigetsu would kind of look to the side and be like, "Wait a second. That one over there. Wait. I'm in a team with two Uzumakis." And then he would also realize one of those Uzumakis also has another sword set thing from the Seven Deadly Swordsmen of the Mist. And he would realize that it was Kiba, like the sword that was like enhanced by a lightning chakra. And Suigetsu would just be like, "Oh shit." I'm like, "This is gonna suck." And like, to Suigetsu's surprise, Naruto's actually very nice. Karen, well, actually gets offered, a place to stay by Naruto. Like, he's literally like, "I have a place that, where I live here, and, if you want, you can live with me." And well, Suigetsu just seeing how nice Naruto is and the fact that, you know, like how nice Naruto is, like, Karen kind of can't, like, not accept Naruto's proposal. And, well, basically, you know, Suigetsu thinking, like, well, that's great and all, but, you know, I was found the same place where Karen was found. Yeah, they also found Suigetsu as well. And if you're wondering where Jugo was found, like if they found Jugo at all, yes, he was found, but he made a very, very crazy mess of the place with his freaking curse mark, like stage 2. He, like, went absolutely ballistic. And so, yeah, they... basically all of Kiri had to stay away from Jugo for quite some time. And whenever they tried to actually, you know, actually find him, he was long gone. And so, yeah. Basically, Naruto allows for both Karen and actually Suigetsu to live with him. Because, you know, Naruto, actually, just like how Hiruzen was, he also gets an allowance from Yagura. Yagura, actually, his allowance from Yagura, seeing as he's not getting overcharged by the villagers, and Kiri, is actually enough to have Karen and Suigetsu stay there with him. It's just he can't be too lavish with his lifestyle. But Naruto's used to that considering the training Yagura gives him on a daily basis. Well, used to usually give him, you know, whenever he was just, you know, fresh off like the cream of the crop. You know, before he actually got assigned to a team and a sensei. And Yagura was actually pretty, like, evident on, like, their sensei actually being Zabuza Momochi. Just so that he, like, didn't leave just like Kasame. He didn't want Zabuza to leave just like Kasame because, well, he saw things in Zabuza, and he saw things in Kasame. It just sucked that he wasn't able to get to Kasame before, you know, the Akatsuki were. And, you know, the Water Daimyo, well, the previous one, the previous Water Daimyo, before Kasame murdered the previous Water Daimyo with his own sword, which was Samehara. Yeah, just damn. And so, yeah, basically wanting to, you know, ensure stability and ensure that things work out good. And you guys might be wondering how Land of Fire is dealing with the loss of their Jinchuriki and how everything else is being affected. Well, Hiruzen is freaking distraught. I mean, and Kakashi is too, and Jiraiya is too. Like, the Dami was like, not just like a hero, but You know, the Yandami was Kakashi's sensei, and Yandami was Jiraiya's student. And Yandami, well, he was the successor to Hiruzen, and the fact that he was the Yandami and Hiruzen was the Sandaime. So, yeah, like, a lot of things have just been hit really hard. But the villagers just seem to think that it's freaking, like, oh, like, happy days and shit. Like, they don't really seem to be all that affected. Well, that's if you were to, talk to the civilian side. The people that actually believe that Naruto's actually dead. Yeah, the civilian side actually believe that Naruto's dead. They don't know that he's actually, a Kirinin. And he's actually a very great asset to them because just like Kumo, Kiri now also has 2 Biju. And guess what? One of theirs is the strongest. And actually, overall, the time that this has been happening, Naruto's actually gotten, a very great relationship with his own tail beast. Kurama. He even learned Kurama's name. And, has gotten really close to mastering all of, the tails of his chakra. To the point to where he's even still able to be sentient, while in the 4-tail state. Well, it's a little bit harder whenever he's in the 6-tail state. And it's a pain in the ass to, regress back into, the regular form. And so, yeah. And basically, Orochimaru is just like, I told you this would happen. I told you this would happen. Like, more or less, he told them that something bad would happen. Not necessarily that Kiri would, jump at the opportunity. He didn't tell Danzo that. He just told him that something bad would happen if he did this. And, Danzo, in general, is just like, you're making me so mad. Like, Naruto Uzumaki, you're making me so mad. Yeah. But Naruto is just living the good life. He has Kiba, one of the swords of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen, and he has his own Keketoda, which Keketodas are actually stronger than Kekkei Genkais. So yeah, suck it, Sasuke. And, well, not only that, but he has 2 Genin teammates, Karin, Uzumaki, and Suigetsu Hazuki, I believe. Suigetsu Hazuki. And the fact that everyone's just able to live with each other and, perfect synchronization is, just a blast in general. And Haku's glad for Zabuza, has his own, team that he can, everything. Even though Haku himself as a Tokubetsu Johnny. Yes, even Kiri have those. Tokubetsu meaning special. So, special Johnny. And on the whole thing with Yagura's just glad that, a big old problem that he saw, he was able to fix. I mean, Naruto's a jinchuriki just like him. So, he's just glad that, a big old problem he was able to fix. And now, Naruto is no longer suffering like he was in the Land of Fire. He is finally happy now. Couldn't be more happy, exactly. Couldn't be more happy. In fact, he couldn't be more happy. So, in both Naruto and Yagura's eyes, they got the good life. It may have took a while, but eventually they got there. They got golden. They got platinum. They got all the way. They got the damn good life.